And now we mentioned earlier that the President, Bola Tinubu, has ordered the resignation of Kayode Egbetokun as Inspector General of Police, and his replacement is underway. Right now, joining us to discuss this is rights activist and lawyer Justice Ojionoh, who joins us now to examine this development. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, very quickly, President Tinubu directly ordered IGP Egbetokun to resign after a Villa meeting. Does this executive overreach violate police service rules, or is it legitimate presidential prerogative under the Police Act?
Okay, I'm even going to take it beyond the Police Act now to the Constitution. You must remember that Section 130 of our Constitution makes the President the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces and the CFO, the CEO, essentially, of the entire country. So in his capacity constitutionally, he has the capacity to actually terminate the services of anybody, including the IGP. So if he ordered him to resign and Egbetokun in essence resigned, then the president in his capacity as the chief commander of the armed forces exercising his rights to so do.
So Egbetokun's stay past 60 and 35 years sparked fury. Shura sued, calling him illegal IGP. CSOs cried nepotism. Does Tinubu's sacking actually vindicate critics on the Police Act violations?
Okay, for me, I actually don't want to, as much as I don't want to dance on his grave, so I feel that a lot was actually done to be able to put it in place. And it's just like you said that you mentioned Shore's name, a great comrade, and he most likely will be one of the greatest beneficiaries of the outing of Mr. Egbetokun. He has always tried, in fact, he has tried himself once. In fact, before he even mentions Egbetokun's name, he ensures that he adds the word illegal. He ensures that he had illegal IGP and all. And of course, there are a lot of actions also filed against him, even though it is appalling that in a democracy we are filing actions against a person for insulting the IGP and things like that. So I feel that it is very, very unfortunate, and in as much as I'm not happy that he's losing his job, but I'm also not too sad that a lot of things, that the mountains were removed in order to put him in that office. At least it's fears are going to be allayed. And I also want to use this opportunity to say that the next person, of course, the name of Mr. Tunji Disu has been suggested in a lot of corners, that's about the person that's going to be appointed by the president. We must remember that Mr. Tunji Disu by himself, despite the fact that he faced some controversies that were debunked by Mr. Frank Umba, that he is up to 66 years of age, that presently his official age is 59, and as much as possible, we should not let people who have passed the age of 60 get to such offices, because junior officers are also yearning to be able to get to such offices. And when you perpetuate some of these people for so long in these kind of offices, you practically truncate the career of their juniors, and people in armed forces or in civil service generally need to ensure that they are perpetually motivated and they have a future to look up to, and not one person perpetually stay in office because of one favor or another that they have done for the president or the governor or whatever person.
So the headline, ordered to resign amid handover to AIG Disu. Legally, should this be mandatory retirement for service rules, or is this forced exit?
Yes, I want to believe more that it is forced exit. And just like the president can fire any minister, any cabinet minister, yes, he can actually get the police office, the IGP to actually go. So he can force him out. He can force him out. Yes, sometimes a lot of people will say, oh, the police act says that his removal has to be subject to confirmation by the Senate. But essentially, when the commander-in-chief doesn't want the person in office again, it doesn't even matter whether there are even provisions like that in any law. In fact, I can even make bold to say that provisions like that, because of the provisions of Section 130 of our Constitution, that kind of provision that is smuggled in by any legislature can never ever stand the test of time or see the light of day. The president is commander-in-chief of the armed forces, and at any time he can ask any member of the armed forces to go. They do not have special legal protection for their job. They are not supposed to have special legal protection for their job because their job is security. And the day they are found wanting, whether they, for lack of capacity or because they are sick or any other reason whatsoever, the president, who is the commander-in-chief, can actually relieve them of their duties, and nobody really can hold him accountable for that. Nobody can hold the president accountable for that. He has done it. He has done it. Mr. Egbetokun should look for either some other job or go holidaying into retirement. We wish him very, very well. But as for whether the president can, yes, I'm not relying on the Police Act. I'm relying on the provisions of the Constitution. The president very well can relieve the IGP or any member of the armed forces of their job because he is the commander-in-chief.
All right, rights activist and lawyer Justice Ojionoh, you seem to have some suggestions for Egbetokun, and I'm hoping that you get to have a one-on-one sit-down so you can suggest some jobs that he can go into. But on a serious note, we're hoping that all of these reforms would actually result into, you know, a better country, basically, in terms of security. Thank you so much for joining us on the news.
It's our pleasure.